Meeple Talk! Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to Meeple Talk. So this time we've got Islebound. This is an exciting one from Red Raven Games. It's another one that we saw at Gen Con, which super excited about, but we couldn't get our hands on it. It all sold out right on that day that we visited, right?
Yes. We came back. You always want to buy the game, and then you're like, oh, I'll just come back for it, and you come back and it's gone. So that's what happened to this. But my good friend John, who I work with,
John.
he allowed us to, he loaned the game to us. So this is a loaner.
Without too much groveling. But just a wee bit.
Yeah.
So it was released just this year, 2016 game. 2 to 4 players. Takes about 90 minutes, I guess you can say, to play. Now, it is a big one. So we're going to have a look at this board. It's going to be kind of loaded. So, I don't know, let's just dive right in.
Let's dive right in. So here's the main board. And you'll see the main board is a big C with a number of different ports. Each player will start in one of the 4 corners, you'll see, with one of their own ships of their own color, and they'll have a cube indicating that they own that port. And the different ports have these little boards that indicate what you can trade or what you will get when you visit that port. This indicates that you have to pay 1 coin in order to visit the port. And this blue banner indicates that you can take over that particular island through diplomacy. The red ones indicate that you can take it over with pirates. Arr. So that's the main board. The players also have a player board, and that indicates their ship in a larger picture. Here you'll have their 3 crew that they'll start with, and the crew have various symbols that mean different things in the game. The hull below is used when crew are exhausted and need to rest, then they'll go into the hull, and later when they've rested, they'll come back up. You can also put your fish and your wood that you've gathered into the hull as well, and you can put your books on the top, and this indicates how fast you can go, or how far you can move, I should say, with your boat. You'll start at 2, and this indicates that you can have a maximum of 10 fish and or wood. Next, there's the common board over here. The common board shows different things, namely we have the renown here. This is what you'll add up at the end of the game to decide who wins. And you can gain renown on this track, and each time you gain 7 renown, you'll get one of these. Here we have event cards, and here we have...
Reputation.
We keep forgetting the name, reputation cards. We call them popularity cards and other things as well. This is the treasure hunt area where you can grab those coins as an action. We got your 3 crew members that you can buy, and a stack more over here. Here we have the influence track that you can use for diplomacy. And finally, we have the various buildings that you can buy. There's always 5 laid out, and they have book symbols indicating how many books you need to own in order to capture these particular buildings. And so those are all the components. Steph, you want to talk about how to play a turn?
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about different paths to victory or strategies, there's going to be 3 main ones that you might find you'll be employing. So going over the general idea of the game is that you want to win with either the most renown or coin, which then converts to renown. So the combination of them all, whoever has the most wins. So on the board, you're going to decide every ship here can travel usually up to 2 spaces away or further, as indicated on the player card. As you advance, you might be able to go faster. Also, some of the fish that you got, they also then convert into speed as well that you can use. So as you visit a port, there's a couple of actions you can do. So action number 1 is the actual visit. Every port has a visiting cost, whether it's coin or exhausting one of your crew members. And when you visit that port, you then gain the benefit, whether it's gathering resources or exchanging resources or hiring crew, whatever it says on the board, you'll be able to take advantage of that. The next thing that you can do is something called attack. So every port that has a red banner, this number represented on the banner is the amount of, I guess you can say, hit points that you will then use your pirates or your sea serpents to try to roll dice to, here you'll see the different values that may be based on your die roll, how many hit points you're going to get. And so your cumulative value of ones that you're going to use must meet or exceed this number in order to take advantage. And as I represent with my cube here, it means you're going to now occupy this particular port. Why is that important? Well, twofold. The visiting cost, every time you go to your own port, you do not have to pay that visiting cost. Anyone else visiting your point, they're now going to pay you. And that's a big resource of money that you're going to get. Also, the value, the level of difficulty when you conquer that particular port, you're going to get that equivalent in coin just as a reward. Now, round number 2 or strategy number 2, you're going to use the same thing for diplomacy. So again, you're going to have to out-charm, I guess you could say, the locals. And so the diplomacy value is what you're going to have to accumulate. And going back to the common board, this is what's represented here on the influence track. As you place your cubes, you'll see that the value of influence you're going to exert is potentially higher. So you're going to have to then take up the cubes and then whatever corresponding value they have, you're going to try to use to accumulate to overcome that particular port. So it serves the same exact function. You don't have to pay the visiting cost. People pay you when they go there. And then this keeps going on. You're going to earn coins, trade resources, build buildings. And why is that going to happen? Or I guess you can figure, when's the ending point? Well, that's where the buildings come into play. And this is strategy number 3. So in your building market, you've got buildings that along the bottom, there's one port on the board called Stratic. If you visit that port, you can then build your buildings using the goods. At any point, you can, however, if you're elsewhere on the board, you could just outright buy them. And then the value, you'll see, not only is it a renown banner that you see here, because you'll earn that many renown when you own that building, but it's also the purchasing cost if you decide to buy it outright. So you have to be careful with that because you're going to be sacrificing 1 to 1. It may or may not be worth it, but they also have some rewards here that, well, if that happens to be in your favor, you might want to take advantage of that without having to go to the Stratic port. They are restricted by the level of books. Some of these is almost like a reserve that you have to have a number of books on your ship in order to be able to buy these particular properties. Otherwise, the end ones you can buy at any time. Generally speaking, as we said earlier, the number of buildings, there's either 7 or 8 that have to be reached depending on the how large your party is. Whoever creates that maximum, or I guess that minimum number of buildings collected, starts the end round that everyone's going to try to use to gain as many coin or points that they can, because in the end, we're going to add them all up, and that's going to be who wins, is whoever has the most. Oh, so that was a doozy, wasn't it?
So,
Just
yes.
going over all the components.
Yes. So, the first thing you should know about this game, I just want to let you know that it looks like, there's a lot of pieces in the game and in the setup and so on. This is not a heavy game. This is, I would say, a medium weight game. It plays very well. There aren't a lot of nitpicky rules that you have to fight with or anything like that.
It's very straightforward.
It's very well designed, yes. I will say the rule book, there are things in the rule book that are in weird places in the end.
Out of order.
Yes, but we didn't have a problem with the rules. The game itself, I'll just say I really love this game. And get that right out in the beginning. Okay. It's one of those. It's one
he
of the.
doesn't like suspense at all.
It's the first game I played in a long time where there are literally many paths to victory, and they're all fun, and you can mix and match them. And there's a lot of things happening in the game, but they're all in front of you, and you can just easily figure it out. At the beginning, it's kind of overwhelming. There's so many different combinations of things you can do at the different ports, and you begin to think, well, if I go to this place, and then I go to that place, and then I go to this place again, I can get a lot of this particular good. Or if I use this particular strategy, but you can't do everything. And that's the mark of a really good game with a lot of strategy and many paths to victory. I really like it.
And that's what I was going to say, too, is that not only are there multiple paths of victory that you can focus on one or a mixture, there doesn't seem to be a particular path or combination of paths that are better than others. And I think part of the other reason why it balances out that way is that this board is a mix and match board. You've got an A side, B side. You can rearrange the placements of it. So some layouts of the game may say that, well, maybe quick exchange of resources and building might be the way to go. Some of them, it might just be out and out dominate the certain areas. So it doesn't feel strange. You can have, or strained. you can have lots of different paths to victories that don't feel either overbearing or predictable. And I found I've lost many times in this game, but have never felt, saddened by it. I still felt like I had a thorough playing experience, and I had a lot of fun doing it. The artwork itself, it's
the game
funny.
looks fabulous.
The colorings are wonderful for a Kickstarter games. I was actually kind of surprised when I realized it was Kickstarter. It looks so professional. It's really well done. Also, the illustrations they're more lighthearted, kind of kiddish friendly, I guess you can say. The coloring choices are very nice. It's a well thought out palette if you want to go into colorings. So I think the artwork is just is fantastic, and I love the shapes, like the proportions, the shapes, coloring.
The level of design detail that went into this to make it pleasing and fun, and also everything works very well together. I can't think of a component that I didn't like or I was dissatisfied with something. It's just really well designed in every possible way.
Because sometimes you can get games where maybe it seems like they were a little too ambitious and then they fall prey to being over designed. This is well edited. So I do have to and that's what really impresses me more about being a Kickstarter game. I was really surprised by this. And so I'm really pleased how this one turned out. Also, as a bit of a teaser, they have exchangeability in components. So one that we are going to be hopefully reviewing in the near future is Above and Below. And why we're mentioning that is that some of your worker tokens, their A sides and B sides, can also be exchanged for another game. So they actually think about the long-term, franchising or compatibility with other designs. And so they're thinking very well, expansion-wise on their first, basic
And I like that component. I don't think it's a big deal because it's just the character cards at this point. But if they do more of that, I really like the idea of you come out with a game, then you come out with another game with maybe similar art or maybe a similar theme, and some of the components are reusable. That's cool, and expand the idea of the game, right? You have these characters with unique abilities that you can import into the other game. So that's kind of neat. But I would say overall, I really like the fact that this game is very social. The things you do affect other players. The buildings that you might buy, some other player might have been angling for it. If you grab the treasure hunt before someone else is, they're like, darn, now I have to find my money somewhere else. So it's very social and very strategic, and it's not overwhelming when you play it the first time. And also, it feels like there's a lot of replayability. Just like because each time you play it, you're like, oh, so-and-so used that other strategy where they had a lot of pirates and a lot of sea serpents, and they really took over a lot of things. I want to try that, or do some of that, or do a lot of that. Like, in the first game, I used influence. I did very well. But the second game, I tried to do more of that, and everyone else did the same thing, and I felt like it wasn't as effective because it was in demand, right?
It encourages you to go outside of your typical comfort zone, I guess, if you like a preferred type of strategy.
And it's been a long time since I played a game where I thought, each time I played it, I was like, oh, that was cool. I want to try that strategy next time, right? And for many games, the more you play it, you're like, oh, there's no other strategies than the one that I picked. That's probably the best strategy. That's the one I'm going to use next time. I'm going to do it more. Overall, really, really great game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
one of the best I played all year.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know that when we were there, it was sold out at Gen Con. So if you can get yourself a copy, I'm sure it's available, everywhere now. So I highly recommend it. I say give it a try. It's a great one.
Yes. Cool. So that's our review. Hope to see our next review.
Sure.
Same channel, same time. See you later.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.